rom-coms, young adult novels, all those fast food love stories, teak nature hit you with instant attraction, extreme emotions, and just force feed you this artificial sweetness. Hot short form dramas are meticulously engineered. Couple influencers on every major video platform keep spinning new tricks in their kaleidoscope of sweet world secrets. But this huge, overwhelming artificial landscape of love just ends up highlighting how bland real world romances for ordinary people like us. My joy or my sadness never has a background score. There is no cutaway shot, no scene build up, no climax. And both my partner and I are terrible actors. So the audience slowly falls in love with everything that's intense and artificial. Like a packet of instant juice powder that can absorb dozens of times its weight in water. Because we're so used to these artificially intense flavors, these chemical concoctions, real life material just ends up feeling fake. So as a writer, it seems like the only way to craft a good love story is to start with some vague, unspoken crush. Now, if we're talking a realistic story, the main character can't have too much of a glow up. Someone that dazzling would obviously have smooth sailing in love. So take this guy, Justin Hogan Schlag. He's a print assistant making $30 a week. There are two kinds of women you could call captivating. One is the universal type, meaning pretty much any guy who sees her would fall for her. The other isn't universal. She is just right, hitting that sweet spot that somehow cuts across everyone's taste. This woman's name is Shirley Lester. In her 20s, 5'4", she'd come up to about Hogan Schlagacy level. She weighed 117 pounds, light as a feather. Shirley Lester was a stenographer who lived with her mother. When people talk about Shirley's looks, they always say the same thing. Shirley was as pretty as a picture. One morning on a 3rd Avenue bus, young Hogan Schlag found himself standing right next to Shirley Lester. It was just enough to look down at him from that slight angle. One glance was all it took to nearly finish off Hogan Schlag. It was all because Shirley's mouth was hanging open in this really captivating way. She was reading a cosmetics ad on the side of the bus, and as she did, her jaw relaxed just slightly. In that moment, with her lips parted like that, Shirley might have been the most dangerous girl in all of Manhattan. Hogan Schlag found in her the cure for his loneliness, tech great. Lonely beast that had been lurking inside him ever since he came to New York. Oh, the agony. To be looking down at Shirley Lester, and not be able to kiss those slightly parted lips. What agony? An agony beyond words. This is how I started a story I was writing for one of the weekly magazines. I was trying to write something tender and moving, real love story. That is better, I think. This world needs stories about a boy meeting a girl. But here's the unfortunate part, the writer has to figure out how to make that meeting happen. I just couldn't keep writing. I had no idea how to make it feel believable. I couldn't force Justin Hogan Schlag and Shirley Lester into some cliché, meat-glut cute. Here is why. It is just not possible for Hogan Schlag to lean in and blurt out something so blunt and honest. Please forgive me, miss, but I am just crazy about you. You drive me wild. I know it for sure. I'll TV love you my whole life. I am a print assistant. I make $30 a week. God, how I adore you. Are you free tonight? But you just don't see that kind of thing anymore. Not these days. You can't seriously expect a reader to swallow that kind of clumsy nonsense. After all, they paid for this. Of course, I can't just suddenly give young Hogan a buff out of nowhere. I can't pump up his stats, charisma plus, adaptability, plus, douse him in some kind of smooth talker serum. A mix of William Powell's charm and Fred Astaire's looks. Suddenly he's silver-tongued and eloquent. Pardon me. Please don't misunderstand, miss. I'm an illustrator for the magazine. Here's my card. I've never in my life wanted so badly to sketch someone, but I'd truly love to draw you. Perhaps we'd both enjoy it. May I call you tonight? The sooner the better. Short, hearty laugh. I hope I don't sound too impatient. Guohu laughed again. Maybe I really am a little bit, well, you know, kid. He'd have to deliver this whole speech with a smile, tired, but cheerful, and just a little bit reckless. If only Hogan Schlag could talk like that. Besides, there are other ways to start a conversation, like pretending to mistake her for someone else. Sorry, but aren't you Wilma? However, Shirley might reply coldly while moving to find a less crowded spot in the other part of the bus. No, it isn't he. How strange, Schleger would continue. I was so sure you were Wilma. No chance you're from Seattle. Is there? No, Shirley says, even colder than before. Seattle is my hometown, she adds, already finding another spot farther away to avoid this stranger. Great town, Seattle, really. A great town. I've just only been in New York 4 years. I am a print assistant. Justin Hogan Schlag is the name. I am not interested. See? With an opening like that. Hogan Schlag doesn't stand a chance. He is not good looking. He is not charming. He is not even well dressed. Nothing to catch Shirley's interest. No chance at all. Not only that, but this whole story idea is completely far-fetched. Hogan Schlag, a Seattle boy, would never dream of grabbing Shirley's ankle. Not on a 3rd Avenue bus, at least. It is too awkward. Too absurd. You might as well have him fake a purse snatching. Tass would make more sense. And don't to think that she's far-fetched. Even now, there are still people willing to take crazy risks for love. Maybe Hogan Schlag is one of them. Maybe he'd snatch Shirley's handbag and make a dash for the nearest door. Shirley would scream. People would hear her and think of the Programmer's Book of Martyrs or something. Hogan Schlag's little escape, if you can even call it that, was finally cut short. The bus came to a stop. Officer Wilson hadn't made an arrest in quite a while. At the scene, he asked what happened. Officer, this man tried to steal my purse. So Justin Hogan Schlag was hauled into court. Shirley, of course, had to attend the hearing. They both gave their addresses, which is how Hogan Schlag learned the hallowed location where Shirley lived. The judge, who probably hadn't even had a decent cup of coffee at home that morning, sentenced Hogan Schlag to a year in prison. Shirley bit her lip as she watched Hogan Schlag being led away. Things had gotten a bit out of hand. And all of this started because one perfectly ordinary man, just to meet a girl he liked, staged a ridiculous purse snatching. From prison, Hogan Schlag wrote this letter to Shirley Lester. Dear Miss Lester, I never really meant to steal your purse. Please like and subscribe, and drop me a letter if you can. It gets so lonely here. I love you so much. I really hope you might find the time to come visit me. Even counting the ones back in Seattle. I really wish you could come visit me one Saturday afternoon. Visiting hours are from 2 to 4. I'll pay for your train ticket. Your friend, Justin Hogan Schlag. Shirley would probably show this letter to all her friends, but she wouldn't write back. Anyone could see this Hogan Schlag was a total fool. That's what it all boiled down to. She'd already replied once. If she answered this stupid letter, it would just go on forever, year after year. This guy had already done more than enough. And what kind of name is Hogan Schlag anyway? Meanwhile, back in prison, Hogan Schlag was having a real tough time. Even though they got to watch a movie once a week, his cellmates were Lenai, Obto Morgan and Slicer Buck. These two thought Hogan Schlag looked exactly like some guy from Chicago who double-crossed them. They were pretty much convinced that this Shuab Pian Lu and Justin Hogan Schlag were the same person. But I'm not Shuab Pian Lu, Hogan Schlag told them. Bull, said Slicer. knocking over the little bit of food Hogenschlag had. "I'll fucking kill you," said Leni. Hogenschlag tried to explain, "But I never really meant to steal it. I only did it because I had a crush on that girl. It was the only way I could get to know her." "Bull! Bull!" said Slicer. "I'll fucking kill you," said Leni, Abto. One day, 17 inmates tried to break out. During outdoor time in the yard, Slicer buck-conned the guard's 8-year-old niece, Little Sue, and grabbed her tight. Then he threatened the guard to open the main gate. 17 grown men and one little blonde girl walked out. A guard up in the tower had a perfect shot, a clear headshot, on the lead escapee. But he messed up his aim. He took out the whole formation. But he missed his mark. Instead, he hit the little guy trembling right behind Slicer, Justin Hogenschlag. Took him out with a single shot. All right, so I wrote this Boy Meets Girl piece for the weekly magazine. It was supposed to be a tender, heartbreaking love story. But the whole plan fell apart when the main character died. And really, if it weren't for that second letter from Shirley that never came, one that left Hogenschlag desperate and panicked, none of it would have happened. He would never have been one of those 17 desperate men. But the fact remains, Shirley never wrote him back that second letter. He could wait 100 years and she'd never write back. It's a real shame I can't do anything to change that. So Hogenschlag never got the chance to write Shirley Lester this letter from his jail cell. Dear Miss Lester, I hope what I'm about to say doesn't upset or embarrass you. I'm writing this, Miss Lester, because I want you to know I'm not a thief in the usual sense. I want you to know I'm not a thief in the usual sense. I want you to know I only snatched your purse because the moment I saw you on that bus, I fell for you. I couldn't think of any other way to get to know you, except by doing this reckless, let's be honest, ridiculous thing. But you know how it is. Anyone in love is a fool. I fell in love with the way your lips are always perfectly aligned. You made sense of everything for me. Ever since I came to New York 4 years ago, I was never unhappy, but I was never really happy either. I guess I'm no different from thousands of other young people in New York. We're all just getting by. I came to New York from Seattle, this huge city, wanting to be rich, famous, classy, stylish. But 4 years have passed, and I've just realized I am not going to be rich, or famous, or classy, or stylish. I am a good print assistant, TCRS all. One day, the typesetter got sick, so I filled in for him. I made a complete mess of things. Oh, Miss Lester, nobody would even listen to me. When I told the typesetter to get back to work, she just giggled. I don't blame her. I sound pretty silly when I try to give orders. Guess I'm just one of those millions who never really learned how to be in charge. But honestly, tea doesn't even matter to me anymore. My boss just hired a 23-year-old kid. 23. And I'm 31, been at the same place for 4 years. I know someday he'll be some kind of executive, and I'll still be his assistant. But even that doesn't matter to me. Loving you is the only thing that matters, Miss Lester. Some people say love is sex, or marriage, or a 6 a.m. kiss, or a house full of kids. Maybe that's true, Miss Lester. But you know what I think? I think love is wanting to touch, and then pulling your hand back. I suppose for a woman, it's important to marry a man who seems rich, handsome, smart, or popular. I'm not even popular. Nobody even hates me. I'm just Justin Hogenschlag. I've never made anyone feel happy, or sad, or angry, or even annoyed. I think people just see me as a nice guy. That's all. When I was a kid, nobody ever called me cute, or sunny, or good looking. If they had to say anything, they'd say I had short, but sturdy, legs. I don't expect you to write back, Miss Lester, though. But if that had happened, I probably would have just brushed off your attempt to talk to me. It's lunchtime, and I'm here alone in the office writing to you. I just wanted to be by myself today. Honestly. If I had to go to the cafeteria with the girls from work, like they always do, I think I would. Vestreek screamed. I don't care whether you're what people call successful or not. I don't care that you're not rich, or famous, or classy, or stylish. I used to care about that stuff. When I was still in high school, I always had a crush on the boys from those made-up idol groups. Donald Nicholson would take long walks in the rain and could recite Shakespeare's sonnets by heart. Bob Bracey was really handsome, and he could sink shots from the baseline. Harry Miller was shy, with these really nice brown eyes. But that crazy time in my life is over now. Those guys in your office, the ones who giggle at all your commands, they're on my permanent blacklist. I've never hated anyone before, but I hate them. What you're seeing is me all dressed up. Wipe off this makeup, and trust me, I'm not pretty at all. Please write and let me know when you can have visitors. I want you to take another look at me. I need to be sure you weren't just fooled by this fake version of me. How I wish you'd told the judge why you really snatched my purse. We could have talked about all the little things we might have had in common. Please tell me when I can come visit you. Sincerely, Shirley Lester. Because in a boy meets girl story, the anima is one of two key archetypes proposed by Jung. The anima archetype represents the feminine image within the male psyche, while the animus is the masculine image within the female psyche. Every anima and animus is different. People are drawn to the qualities of their own animus or anima. When someone meets an anima or animus that feels just like them, they experience an incredibly intense sense of familiarity. When you have a crush, it's the same for everyone. Maybe the animus or anima we fall for. It's a part of yourself, something you lack, or deeply desire, or are always hoping to find. And that very quality just shines so brightly in someone else. Everyone's crush, that person you secretly admire, Teacher hold this mysterious and beautiful meaning for you. They're more like a character crafted entirely by your own imagination, just standing there. Whenever I lose interest in this world's boring rules, whenever I feel trapped by shallow values, whenever I see how overly aggressive and superficial other people can be, that mysterious image of them in my mind becomes even more perfect. Compared to all the stages a real relationship might go through, disillusionment, the conflicts, the boring routines, having a crush is actually pretty wonderful. And that feeling is fueled by your own imagination and longing. It's a state of loving someone, yet it has nothing to do with them, really. I guess I must be so lonely that I've ended up falling in love with my own imagination. Falling for someone you don't really know all that well. You set up this perfect ideal in your head, and then you spend all your time trying to understand it and become just like it. A friend told me I should have saved this topic for Valentine's Day. But honestly, I think putting it out there would just be really offensive. Because a crush should have a holiday all its own. Why don't we invent a holiday just for crushes? Because a crush is something that's truly just your own. A timid, pointless little adventure. Because in the end, we just keep falling in love with ourselves, over and over again. And honestly, isn't that something wonderful? If I could stay with you forever, I'd gladly turn into any animal you like. A blue whale, a jellyfish, or a woolly rhino, munching on dumplings, munching on a silly, dazed little goldfish. Thank you for sticking with this video all the way to the end. And thank you all so much for the love you showed my last video. The weather's been all over the place lately, so please take good care of yourselves. Make sure you don't catch a cold. Thanks for all the likes and support. I'm Lushai. See you in the next one.